Hey everybody, Kyle here. Just wanted to make a quick video just to add a little bit more value to you for chapter 3. We don't have any worksheets to discuss. We are going to talk about anchor setting later on, but really the key to this whole thing is focusing your power to change. So there's things in life that we can control. There's things in life we cannot control. So we need to ask ourselves, where am I putting my energy? Where am I putting my thought? Where am I putting my resources and my power? Am I giving it to things that I have no control over anyway? Or am I focusing them on things I can change, thus accelerating that positive change in my life? Okay, so there's a lot of distinctions in there. I give you lots of examples of things that you cannot control, and then things that we can control. So hopefully that kind of settled in. Now, what we end up doing in this is setting an anchor. And so basically we talked about the Pavlovian response, which is a conditioned response to a given stimulus. In Pavlov's experiment, that was the stimulus was the bell ringing, the conditioned response was the dog salivating, okay? That in itself is an auditory anchor that we're set. What we're going to be setting is a kinesthetic anchor. So basically, in this instance, we're setting an acceptance anchor. Okay, an acceptance surrender anchor. And first off, I'm going to find some place on my body where I want to set that anchor. So for me, and really I just have my Omega anchor now, and I'm going to talk to you about that in chapter 15. Don't skip ahead though. There's growth necessary before then in order for that to be, fully work for you. But I push my finger to this knuckle, and I feel a wave of kinesthetic energy flow over me and a calm. And I use this in so many instances. I use that anytime I'm just not living the ideal. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But what I want you to do is just pick somewhere on your body that you're going to set this anchor. Sometimes you can put your hand on your chest, or I used to, I did this with an anchor stacking once, there's at one point I had anchors on all my fingers, anchor, 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 anchor. That could enter me into conditioned responses to pre-conditioned states of mind and states of being. So what we ask for in this, and it makes it easier if you've already experienced surrender. As we talk about a lot later on in anchor stacking and modeling, we can create it without a personal experience, but it's always a little bit stronger if you've had something in your life that you've just surrendered to, you've accepted, right? Don't know what that is, whether it's a disease or some type of limitation, or maybe somebody just wouldn't feel like you wanted them to feel about you, or maybe there was something in your life that happened that was horrible and you just couldn't change it, but you said, you know what, I can't change that. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to make peace with that, and I'm going to move forward. And that's what you're looking for, is an instant like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to reassociate with that. And again, relive it as if it's happening now. Put yourself in it, close your eyes, really settle in, see what you saw. Hear everything that's going on in that circumstance. Hear your self-talk. Just relive that. What were you saying to yourself? How did you feel? What kinesthetic feeling did you have? What emotions did you have in that moment? And then I want you to open your eyes and write down all the submodalities of that. So where I see myself. And go through that submodality checklist on this instance. And this is really important, just to get into the practice of doing that. It's not that hard. You just have it right next to you, and you open your eyes and you write it down, and you fill in the blanks. Okay. Now I want you to break state. And what you're going to do now is you're just going to, imagine your phone number backwards, spell your name backwards, right? Clap a few times, just anything to get out of that state. And then what I want you to do is go back into that state. And then when you're doing that, I want you to bring the serenity prayer into it, like it says in there, and everything that means to you. And then what you do is, when that experience is at its peak, this is when you set your anchor. So when you're feeling as peaceful and serene and detached, and you're accepting and you're surrendering, and you've done everything you can to intensify that feeling, and you're at your peak, that's when you're going to set your anchor. And you're going to see it's intense. Takes time, but it's intense. I've been setting this anchor for a very, very long time, and you're going to hold it as long as you're feeling that feeling of peace and surrender. You're going to hold it. And when it starts to dissipate, you're going to let go. And that's setting an anchor, okay? Hebb's law, neurons that wire together, wire together. Every time you fire those neurons, they get stronger. So you may want to practice this, but what I want you to do is just kind of break state again. And, think about the last thing sweet that you ate, or think about your last trip, right? And then again, spell my name backwards, Kyle Becker. It's Reka Bielik, right? But now I want you to fire that anchor, okay? I want you to see what happens for you. See how it's set. What I focus on a lot in my anchors is I'm a kinesthetic person. I'm very much about feeling. Some people are visual, some people are auditory. And so you might figure out what you are on that. But for me to really drive these anchors home and make them powerful and real and have them accessible to me is to really focus on that kinesthetic. So how am I feeling in that moment? And again, what's my posture like in that moment? What's my posture like? What's my breathing like? How am I holding myself in space? Are my arms out? Am I big? Am I small? Really duplicate those things. So when I fire it, a part of this was me standing on stage, allowing God's light to shine through me in this anchor right here. It's part of my Omega anchor. But those are some of the finer nuances. Now we're going to talk about anchor stacking later on, which is you're going to take multiple experiences and add them to the same anchor. You're going to model people who embody a trait that you want to kind of be able to access at will and develop, and you're going to add them to that anchor. And then you're going to future pace your anchors. So you can think about times where, let's say I have an anchor where I'm just confident talking in front of people. Right? I'm just going to bring in as much as I can. I'm going to create this anchor that's just devised for talking in front of people and being confident and loose and relaxed and resourceful. And then I'm going to look forward and see, okay, what instances do I have coming up where I'm going to need to be able to access that state? And I'm going to imagine those things, and I'm going to start firing that state in association with that activity. So when that activity comes, I may not have to fire my anchor because I may just respond automatically how I want to respond in those situations. So that's a lot on anchoring. Again, the key is just really start becoming aware of things you cannot control, things you can control. Okay, things you can control again are your beliefs, your fears, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your reactions, your responses, your habits, your behaviors. That's all you can really change. And then the world reflects what you are back to you. So work on yourself, become your best you, and the world will reveal beautiful things to you. So appreciate you. Look forward to talking to you in the next video.